are Squawking Dead, and today we have a special treat for you. We formed Voltron very casually, very quickly today, but only to give you a nice little surprise. Chris and I are going to be dropping out, and we're going to be letting the zombie mommies take over. So, with that, the only two things I want to drop before I go are, is Jocelyn the female Shane? How frustrated were people with connecting emotionally to the show because of the crazy amount of commercials? Chris, any final thoughts before you go?
No, I'll just ping everybody in the chat.
We shall raise hell in the chat, and we will see you soon. Ladies, take it away.
Lovely. So we have Ashley and Rachel and myself on. How you guys doing tonight?
Good. Doing good.
Awesome. So officially, it's so funny because when I was talking to Dave earlier, I thought, wow, like how ironic that it's going to be like us, because based on this episode, it's kind of an interesting viewpoint, to be able to kind of talk about some of this stuff. So just like opening thoughts, what did you guys think?
I loved it. That episode was unreal.
And it had been hyped quite a bit.
And I felt like it lived up to its hype.
I think so too. I thought so too. I know a lot of people were bothered by the commercials, but I don't know. I mean, Rachel, what did you think?
I watched it on Sling TV. I guess I didn't really notice any more commercials than normal.
Yeah, me neither, to be honest.
I guess. I mean, commercials are always annoying, so.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it wasn't any more so that I felt that I couldn't connect to it. Like, I was already like in it,
Right. I mean, of course, they were perfectly timed, so they were like, leaving you right on the edge of something, but I think commercials are supposed to do that too.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, I felt the exact same way. I mean, I thought it was great. The acting was awesome. We got a lot of the answers that we wanted. I will say, like, I still have some questions, more so in terms of what happened at the sanctuary. We still really haven't gotten an answer to what led to the demise there. So for me, that was like one of the criticisms that I kind of walked away and was like, I still have questions. I'm still I still have.
So with what happened with Hilltop now, and not necessarily just Hilltop, but is it Michonne just shut her doors and the Hilltop maybe had some like run-in with something and she didn't help them? That maybe
could be.
Yeah. Because
I'm wondering, go back to the riders too. Remember when they were shouting?
The highwaymen. Yeah, because Tara did give him a look.
Right.
I know you. So that was kind of what I was thinking was that now what happened was that Michonne was so shut off from the world that she refused to help them.
Mm-hmm.
That could very well be.
Something happened. Yeah.
Yeah. That was the thing. Like, it very well could be. But I was definitely like surprised that I really kind of went into it and I was expecting that it was going to be very much tied to whatever happened to the communities, and to see that it was an entirely different circumstance that happened.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wow, okay. There was a bit of a surprise.
Right.
But I guess like when I think about it, even from like the start, so like, even the way the episode started off, I thought it was really nice, like the whole kind of flashback and the sepia tone to kind of like distinguish, okay, this is the past, this is the present. And so in the beginning, I know that, so basically they start off and they show like, okay, Michonne's by the river and you can see that she's like looking for Rick. Daryl's still looking for Rick. Like, time is passing because we see her pregnancy go on. I thought it was really sweet that like Daryl had said like, oh, I went all the way to like the ocean.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I thought about it. I was just like, how far is that? Because I was like,
yeah.
It definitely gives an answer to why Daryl is still alone. Like no matter how much time passes, he'll never stop looking for him. And
And Michonne even says, "Are you okay being alone?"
Yeah.
And he says, "Yeah."
Yeah. He says that he's fine.
And I think that's very endearing and sweet that he will never stop looking for his brother.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's almost like he's to me, it feels like he's doing it for Michonne and Judith more than for himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably more so, but
Yeah.
it's got to be for him too.
Right.
For everybody. Yeah.
And I think on Talking Dead, they had a little like side interview with him, and he said that like the character of Daryl is such a tracker, that he's so, an expert at this, that he probably just can't shake the fact that like, how come I can't find him? Like this makes no sense whatsoever. So it just doesn't make any sense to him. So
because like that, with the whole helicopter and him taking him away. Now, did Gabriel ever mention to anybody about what Jadis was doing?
Ooh,
that's a good question.
Do we know if he ever mentioned to anybody that she was trading people? Because I feel that would be, a way to have him think. I mean, did anyone ever know about the helicopters? Because I know Rick saw them once.
Right.
Doesn't seem like it.
Negan saw it too when he was at the trash at the junkyard.
What about Negan?
He did.
Negan saw the helicopter.
He saw the helicopter.
He saw Jadis and Ann talking on the walkie-talkie. So
yep. So he definitely had visibility to it.
Right.
And nobody's talking about it.
Nobody's talking about the helicopter that's like flying around. Nobody's talking about the just a random helicopter.
There's a helicopter. We're just gonna.
That'd be kind of a big deal.
Yeah. But that's probably the furthest thing from their mind. I mean, but maybe not, because Anne disappeared the exact same time Rick did. I mean, there has to be a correlation there. I mean,
nobody's really made that connection either. We don't hear anybody talking about.
Yeah, nobody's ever really
that happened.
Where is she? Where did she go?
Right.
I almost think Daryl still thinks he's alive, and that's why he hasn't found him.
Yeah.
Like if he were dead, he would have found him.
Right.
So that means he's got to be alive somewhere.
There's that little bit of kind of like, this doesn't make sense. I can't just assume that he's dead. He might still be out there. So for that reason alone, I'm going to stay out here and keep looking. Yep. And so it makes sense. But it was kind of sweet too, like, their little talk, and Michonne was saying, Judith misses you, like, are you ever going to come back? And he's like, no, not for a while. So
I definitely got choked up when she found Rick's python too.
I know.
All the butterflies.
I know.
And then she flipped over that one walker that like looked
with the same shirt.
The shirt.
Yep.
Yeah. I was like, oh, she's looking. But then it's interesting how they keep going kind of like back and forth in the past and the present, and at certain points, I thought it was pretty cool how they did it, so it's like he finds like his python, and she's putting it in its case, and we're back in present day, and we see that like Daryl shows up with Connie and Henry and Lydia and Dog, and they're at the gates basically asking to like come in, and obviously like she's kind of weary, but Daryl's like, all right, Henry's hurt, so we just want to patch him up basically and be on the way.
What do you trust Lydia?
I feel like I understand Michonne's concern, because essentially she's like a wanted woman, so like people are going to follow, like wherever she goes, that thread is following behind her, which I get. And I also feel like she's still kind of conflicted in the sense where she's like, I know my people are awful, but they're my people too. So I can't bring myself to inflict any kind of harm to them either. Like I just want to run away from them. But so she's sort of kind of not, she's like a teenager too. She's
I have a hard time trusting her.
I don't think you can fully.
Her mother has such a powerful force over her. Yeah. That I feel like with even just one look, Lydia might go back to her mother.
Oh,
I feel like Lydia's a little bit like Eugene too, where she's going to align herself with
like
whoever can protect her. Yeah. Right now it's us, but like you said, one look from her mom and she's going to, okay, sorry.
Right. I know. She's so terrified of her mother that I worry that.
And it's totally out of fear too. Like I kind of do trust her, because of that, because we're showing her, love and kindness and support, and, showing how we can protect her, and her mom does all of that out of fear. So she fears her mom. It's not respect.
Right. Exactly.
And so she's seen both sides of that now.
Right.
Yeah. So
do you think she'll run? I mean, Michonne pretty much told her, like,
told her to. I know.
you're the reason. I mean, you need to leave. So
I hope not. It's pretty much a death sentence. And at this point, I don't think it would matter. I think even if she went back, they're still coming.
Yeah. And speaking of that, the Whispers, did you see that when the two Whispers were looking into the hilltop and they saw them?
Oh,
not the hilltop, the kingdom. When they were
at the end, yeah.
Do you know one of them is the daughter of Reggie, who was Deanna and Reg? It's his actual daughter.
Oh, really? Like the actor?
Yes, the actor.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I
was a little confused.
I'm like, Reggie had another daughter?
No.
Scandal.
No.
I was trying to like go through it in my head. I was like, wait.
No, I'm sorry. The way I phrased that is bad. His actual daughter in real life
that's cool.
Is her, the actress. Yeah.
They keep it in the family on this show so much.
Yeah.
I love that.
I know.
I wish I had a sibling on the show.
I know, you'd have an automatic in.
Yes, that was cool.
That was cool, yeah. But it's cool. So they're at the gate and it kind of immediately flashes back to like this time period where like she chose to let somebody in because like they say like, oh, we've got somebody hurt. And she recognizes this woman as like apparently an old friend, which we don't, I mean, I started racking my head when she was like Jocelyn. I was like, did we ever have a Jocelyn on this show?
Right.
I was like,
do we know her?
You know who I thought of when she was right after the prison, when she leaves and she makes those two new walkers on the rope and she's walking and she sees another woman with dreads. Do you remember that? But it's a walker. Like, that's immediately what I thought of. And I was like, wait a second.
I was racking my brain trying to think. I was like, wait, was this somebody that like we came in contact with before? Was this somebody part of the group that left like early on? But then they kind of like, we start finding out that that's not the case, that it was like a college friend, right? That's what they were saying. That was like,
what a devious scandal too. I mean, that is quite the scheme.
Yeah.
I mean, and you think about it, it is smart of her. I mean, children are very they can be manipulated very easily. And
how long do you think they were there for?
I mean, the ages range too. Like if you looked at the group, I mean, there were some that were on the fairly young side that could be like 7, 8 years old maybe. But then like there were those that looked like they were teenagers, like the girl and like the one
boy.
Which
might have been with her for a long time.
Right. That could have been like indoctrinated for like a while. They could have been like, you know, and then it makes me think too, like when she had, you know, when we see, I mean, eventually in these flashbacks, we see like, I mean, she basically comes to Gates all delirious, which I guess was all an act, basically. Yeah. And so she kind of won their trust over and she tells them that like, she was taking care of all these kids and they follow her to this building where they see like all the papers up on the wall with like
deer skinning instructions.
Right. And, you know, these kids come out of the shadows. When they came out of the shadows, these kids, I was like, oh man, we are in for such an episode. I was like, this is going to be one of those.
Well, I was like, when that girl like crawled through the wall.
I didn't get that either. Was it to like tell the other kids to warn them or something maybe?
No, she was crawling into the room to unlock the door from the inside.
Oh, that's what it was?
It was locked. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So she hopped down inside. How long do you think that they were, when Jocelyn and the kids got to Alexandria, how long do you think they were there? Because Michonne was like letting Judith have sleepovers and like it seemed like some time had
long
passed.
Enough. Well, I mean, I remember when Denise, when she was on The Talking Dead, she said she had different belly sizes, like her belly did grow. So I would assume maybe a month or so, probably.
Okay. Probably,
you know, to keep the trust in there and to grow a friendship and especially with Judith, you know.
Right. And get a lay of the land.
Right.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't they have just stayed there? I mean, was the plan always to rob and take the kids?
Take the kids,
yeah. I mean, it seems like, and it's so crazy because it seems so absurd. Like, but then at the same time, it's like, you know, if I'm to be like totally honest, like how much does that not happen already in this world in terms of like, you know, all around the world where you have like terrorist organizations that steal children to basically like make them into child soldiers, you know? And that's literally what she was basically doing, forming a little army of these like children that she could manipulate. So, I mean, these kids were like her literal minions, and you know, they like set themselves up pretty well in Alexandria. They hunted for them and brought them like a feast. You know, you see them on the fire and telling stories and games, like they, and you know, to the point that Michonne is like, God, you know, she wishes that Rick could see this, you know, to see like this community and everything. So she really like, you know, she really fooled her, you know, and really like, you know, earned her trust, you know, at a time where Michonne needed it. That was the thing. I mean, that's the thing that was such a shame about it.
A very vulnerable time for her.
Exactly. She was already in such a vulnerable place. She's pregnant. She's missing her, you know, her significant other, who she doesn't know if he's alive or dead or what. And here's this old friend that shows up. It's like, oh my God, like what a relief.
Right.
So of course she's gonna like confide. Of course she's gonna like let her in, you know, with open arms. Right. It's like a warm blanket, you know.
It was so powerful how she really didn't want to kill those children. You know, she said it a couple times.
Everything.
You know? Even in that hallway when she first escaped, you know, she was like, I don't want to hurt you. Like, step back. Just tell me where Judith is. And that was very powerful.
Yeah. She did everything she could not to hurt
everything she could. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
But I mean, at the end of the day, I would have done the same thing. I mean, if it's my kids or them, my kid every time.
Right. Yeah.
That's Mama Bear.
Yeah. I did think it was funny though when they were in the school building. Like, I love how they always have to throw Eugene in for like a moment of like levity. I was like, trust Eugene to kind of like come in just to kind of like throw some jargon out there that's going to be like, okay,
right,
Eugene, sure.
We can't lose him. He lightens everything up.
I don't think we're losing Eugene. I hope not.
I don't think so either.
I don't think we are.
He's like way down at the list of possibilities.
He's low in my book.
Yeah.
So, but in like present Alexandria, so like Henry gets stitched up, which hurt. Like, it was so funny because I was watching this episode with my husband and he was like, oh, he was like watching him get like stitched up. And I was like, as somebody who's been stitched up a few times, like, oh yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun. I was like, there's no anesthesia there, I'm sure, at Alexandria. It's just what it is. So, but
I love how they mimicked the scar scene, though. I mean, sort of like in their own way. Carol, I know you read the comics.
Yes,
it's not spoiling anything, but I mean, actually, you probably have seen the picture of Lydia in the comics. You know, licking
his
Carl. Yeah.
socket.
So I like how they kind of threw that little nugget in there.
Yeah, they kind of like alluded to it a little bit.
Yeah, I like that, like a little wink to the comics.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah,
you know,
we can't do that, but we'll do this.
We'll do this. Exactly. So I was like, all right, you know.
I like that.
But yeah, Michonne is like, just like you said, like she had her little talk with Lydia and she's just not, not crazy about this at all. And she very kind of like, I mean, she kind of tells her exactly what, you know, we already said, which is her presence is bringing risk, is bringing threat.
Right.
So you could just walk away and take all that danger and threat with you. Like,
do you think Alpha would leave them alone if Lydia just went back to them?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't think she will now.
No, because I think it's too far gone.
It's too far gone, especially that they killed some of those people in that building. And
Alpha has to make a point now.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So I think at this point, I think if it was like the beginning when this first happened, then maybe it'd be a different story. But there's too much that has happened since then. That's like, she can't just let it go. Even if she like just came back.
Right.
So, but the thing that I love this too was like Daryl and Judith's little moments.
Oh yes.
By the watermills. That was, I love their body language. I love that they were sitting in the same position because there's something so childlike about Daryl also, you know, as much as like he's a grown adult, like there's something still very childlike about him, childlike qualities. So to see them both just kind of sitting there by the water, having their little chat, it was just, I don't know.
You know, and I love when she said, like, what would my dad do? And then he doesn't say anything. She goes, yeah, that's what I thought.
That's what I thought. Exactly.
That was another gut punch moment. Like when I was like, oh,
I know. That was
I love that, you know, like Michonne assumed like her willingness to let people in was because she didn't remember what happened.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, in reality, she did remember, and she knows what her dad did, and she knows like about how Negan killed Glenn and Abraham.
I thought it was really interesting to see like how much Judith has known, you know, and that she just hasn't shared, because we do, like by the end of the episode, we find out that she did remember what happened in this like flashback, and she does know from her conversations with Negan like these stories, and she kind of mentions it in the conversation with Daryl, where she kind of says like, yeah, I know the stories about how we fought against the saviors and we won and we can do it again. And you know, Daryl was kind of like, oh well, you don't know everything, but she does. She knows, like, you know, it was kind of cool to hear them like in the Negan scene, to hear some of these things where he was like, you know, I told her how her brother Carl was a badass and snuck into the sanctuary and shot up a bunch of my men. I was like, oh God, I remember that. And like, oh, when your dad, like, slashed me across the jugular and all that. I was like, it's cool that, you know, that she's hearing all these stories and she knows all this stuff. And even when Michonne's like, oh, well, did you tell her what you did to Glenn and Abraham? Yeah, she knows that too.
Right.
You know, so like she has all this knowledge and information, and she still kind of is clear on what she wants to do regardless. So
she's still exactly who she is and wants to do the right thing and do good.
Yeah, let people in, and
exactly.
She knows that not everyone's evil.
Yeah,
no, and she made. I feel like she made the right choice with Yumiko and.
Yeah,
definitely,
yep, all of them.
So then, like, you know, I mean, basically Daryl's still kind of saying like, you know, they have to go because Judith wants them to stay, but he still insists, well, like, you know, it's for the safety of you and for the safety of RJ. We see more RJ in this episode.
That is true.
I was like, okay, RJ's okay. I was like, oh God. I was like,
for a minute, I kind of thought maybe RJ was that she did losing her baby with Rick.
Right.
RJ was one of the ones that was with Jocelyn. I thought maybe for a second, but no.
Yeah, this whole episode.
You really got in my head with that, by the way. That
I know.
The RJ isn't real thing. It really got in my brain.
Too.
Yeah.
Me too.
I'm leaning more towards that he's real. So
it definitely made me concerned throughout this episode. I was like, okay, all right. I think RJ is okay.
The dinner scene, especially when they're all sitting, Michonne and RJ and Judith. So when Judith gets up and leaves, she says goodnight to Michonne, but not to RJ. And I'm like, oh, Ashley's right.
Okay. See, I didn't notice that. So maybe
I didn't notice that either.
No. He is real though, because Daryl, during his conversation with Judith, says, you know, we have to keep you and RJ safe.
Yeah.
No, and he talks about him in present tense.
Right. So. There was more acknowledgement. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
And she was helping him on that bike.
She was helping him on the bike. And I think Gracie was there too. It was three of them.
Yeah.
So I was like,
I totally had an answer for that though. Cause I said the same thing. And my husband's like, well, no, cause he was pushing him on the bike. And I'm like, no, Gracie was behind. Maybe Michonne only saw RJ, but it was actually Gracie on the bike.
So I got in all of your guys' heads.
I was going crazy.
You're like, oh my God.
She does ask him at the table though, like that he like wanted more tomatoes or something.
Yeah.
So there is actual conversation going on, unless she is really
unless she's really far gone. Yeah.
Unless she's really far gone. So
yeah. It's just a community-wide accepted delusion.
Yeah. I mean, she was talking to herself with Andre.
It's not far-fetched. I don't think.
That was a dream.
Yeah.
Never mind. That was a dream. She wasn't actually talking to herself, but still, I mean, never know.
Yeah. Speaking of kids, well, there's a lot of speaking of kids in this episode, but another cute moment was like once it was nightfall and Daryl, Henry, and crew are going to leave. Aaron and Daryl are kind of chatting a little bit. And it's always cool. Like, I like their dynamic. I like their kind of like camaraderie relationship or whatever.
They understand each other.
They get each other. And so I thought it was cute that Aaron was like, hey, I always told you you'd be a good dad. And like, you like floating diaper phase and went right into it. I was like, oh man, that's true.
That's not fair. You don't get to skip over that part.
I know, it's not fair at all. But I thought that was cute. I was like, you know, so that was nice. But but I think, between Michonne, Aaron, and Daryl, they kind of accept the fact that like, they're going to have to keep going. Like Michonne doesn't try to keep him there at all. Like she's sort of like,
and she trusts Daryl enough to make his own decisions and, to lead the group. And
well, Carol has to know what happened. And the only way to let her know is to go and tell her. So they have to go.
Well, and Daryl kind of like tells her, it's like, tells Michonne, it's like, you should talk to her and tell her, what happened, to make her understand why, we have to do this. But she kind of says that she's not even sure if she's ready to have that conversation, to talk about it. So it seems like it's definitely been something that she's kind of kept inside. Like her and Daryl obviously know they were both there, but she hasn't really told people everything that went down.
Right.
That day.
So should we assume that there were other kids still in the building when Michonne was outside taking care of them? Because we don't actually see Daryl kill any children. He comes out with bloody knives, though.
I noticed that too, and I assumed that yes, he did.
Okay.
I assumed that he had to.
I assumed so, but then I started second guessing it. Like, why wouldn't all the kids?
And Winnie got away.
Winnie got away. Winnie's a whisperer now.
Yeah. Oh, I said the same thing. Yes.
Now.
Yep.
That's what I thought. I was like, I
was like, she got away, and in this world,
we'll see her again.
If I don't see a body, I'm assuming. Like she's a whisperer now. Yeah. She's what?
That's exactly what I thought, was that she'll be a whisperer now.
She'll be a whisperer now.
Yeah.
But I assumed the same thing. I assumed that he did end up killing people, because when they were in that room, and I mean we can get to it, but when they were in that room and tied up, and I mean we knew he was working on escaping because you saw him move like his hands back.
Is that what he was doing? I couldn't. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. I couldn't tell. Okay.
That's I mean that's how I interpreted. Like, okay, he's already working on like getting out of like these ropes,
Okay.
And when he does, like whoever was there on watch was already on the floor. What did he do? Did he like
choked him out?
He choked him out.
Yeah.
Is that what it was? Okay, because I was like,
because then he was going to tie him up.
Right.
If he killed him, he wouldn't need to tie him up.
Right. So I was like, okay, something. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I think this person's out, but I wasn't sure. Like you were saying, like who else was like in the building or how many kids were.
That's why I was questioning whether or not Daryl killed any children, because he didn't kill that one. Mm-hmm. And we didn't see him kill any other ones.
Although they would have turned, right? So he would have had to put them down. Or is that why he tied them up to like incapacitate them when they turned?
Possibly, yeah. That's possible too.
Yeah, possibly.
But
now she got slashed in the stomach. I mean, how do we even ever know like how deep that was? I mean, oh God.
RJ seems okay, so obviously not too. I mean,
okay.
Well, there was
okay.
Yeah. I mean, by post-apocalyptic standards, he's as good as can be expected.
I mean, and she got beat by a 2x4 too.
Yeah. I mean, can I tell you that? I mean, this episode was like painful for me to watch because it pained me to see some of these characters in pain. I was like, I hurt just watching some of this stuff. I mean, seeing Henry get stitched up, that hurt. Then so once they all leave, Daryl and crew, like you see her kind of turn around and she looks at the sewer, and then we flash back to the past and we kind of find out that like the sleepovers had been going on. She and these other Alexandria parents like went to pick up their kids and they're like gone. And so you end up finding out that they like took out the watch at like the parent, cleaned it out. which is the same pantry that got cleaned out a couple of times. I feel like this
Couple of
pantry
times.
is always
Yeah.
getting cleaned out.
Yeah,
The
they need to
saviors
boost up the
took it.
security on the pantry.
They really do. They really do, because it's happened like a couple
Come on,
of
guys.
times already. Like this pantry, man, it's the same.
Yeah.
Like I was like, we've been here before. Like, you know, like when I
How do we
saw
not learn from this?
I was like, haven't we learned like from the previous experience? Like we've
Right.
been like robbed by like Father Gabriel stealing for like the junkyard people. The saviors came and cleaned
Come in and
out.
take it.
Like, I mean, yeah. So, but they see like these bloody
And
little
Spencer was hoarding all of the.
Oh
Spencer
yeah,
was-
Spencer was stealing too.
Right. He was stealing food too.
Yep.
Stealing.
And booze. Yeah. Oh, Spencer. But it like freaked me out when you see like the bloody little footprints to the sewer. I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, what happened to these kids? And then, you know, we ultimately like end up, you know, finding out that, well, they figure out like, okay, they like took the kids and like escaped through like the sewer system. I remember somebody said, it's like, I wonder why they don't lock down these manholes. But I was like, they are an escape hatch, because that's how Carl was able to save everybody when they were
Yep.
bombing like
Right. I mean,
Alexandria.
and Maggie and Aaron were down there at one point.
Yeah, so it's like a kind of escape route just in case, you
Right.
know. But
Now it's blocked up. So
now, yeah. So, but anyway, so like once they figured that out, we see that like Michonne and Daryl are like going through like, you know, trying to like track them down. And they have this really sweet scene like on the swing set, which I also thought was like really cute of the two of them, you know, like and Michonne's just like totally broken down and it's like basically beating herself up.
right.
She, like let her guard down and like trusted, you know, this woman, you know, into their like home basically. But Daryl doesn't like
sensed something. That's just crazy.
yeah. But I mean, she was in a vulnerable place and like, I mean, it wasn't like she gave off any signs, really. I mean,
Right. No, that's, yeah. How could she have sensed something? I'm saying that's
Right.
crazy to expect to, there's no way she could have known. And like she said, this was a real friend,
right.
like
Someone
from
she knew
before.
Yeah.
Right.
So I
Made
she had
her
every
feel like
reason to trust
herself.
her.
Right.
Right. And I mean, like, if you would have told any viewer, like, if you would have given any of us guesses on what would have gone down in this episode, college friend returning with child soldiers would not have been up there.
No, not even on the list.
Not even
No.
on the list. Not even on the list. So that would not have been in the realm of possibility whatsoever.
No.
Yeah.
But I would have said killing off Maggie before this.
Right. Exactly. Like, this would not have been on the list.
No.
But Daryl's really sweet and like comforts her and tells her, you know, it's not your fault. This isn't on you. And he says, you know, we'll find them and she'll pay, basically.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep.
And so it's all of this is by a school. And so they see one of the kids, like by one of the entrances of the school. That's what kind of tips them off. And which kind of like shocked me. It was kind of jarring all of a sudden, like
Right.
this kid just kind of pops up and like, he's just
Now
like,
was that the same school where the Oceanside took this extra saviors to kill them? Is that the same school?
a lot of people thought that because the
I
imagery
know a
looked
lot of
really
people thought that. Mm-hmm.
It looked like the similar brick, but I didn't see any of the it had like a over, I don't know what you call it, like
Yeah,
the little
like a
thing
little
where they were
canopy.
standing under.
Okay.
Mhm.
I didn't see that, but the brick looked the same.
Okay.
Maybe it was a similar brick because I knew a lot of people who had thought from the trailer seeing
yes.
like that scene
Yeah.
that all took place at like where the Oceanside women were. So a lot of people expected that whatever happened had
Right.
to do with the Oceanside group and the saviors.
Right.
So even me, like I kind of was going into it like, okay, we're gonna see some of this. So yeah, but it was at a school. So you know they like run inside and I don't know, it was creepy. I thought to myself, I was like, gosh, they're always finding different scenarios.
I was surprised the desks were still like aligned, sort of.
Yeah.
When like Daryl went in there, I'm like, wow, those desks are still pretty aligned.
Yeah, the classroom is still pretty intact, you know?
Yeah.
But they're like in this corridor and then they kind of, the group of the kids, like kind of like under Jocelyn, it looks like the teenagers are kind of like the little like leaders of the group, like that one,
Yeah, like lieutenants.
Teenager. He kind of heads them up, and Daryl and Michonne have no interest in harming these kids or whatever. But one of them shoots an arrow into what, Daryl's shoulder it was?
Looked like it, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. That same shoulder, I think, that he got shot with by Dwight.
Oh my gosh.
Like he went down
Yeah.
and I was like, oh my God. Like, and so, and then they hit Michonne with, I don't know what it was that they hit her with.
Knife,
maybe the butt of a knife.
The back of a knife.
Yeah. And is that why she's wearing her hair the way it is now? Does she have like maybe like a wound there now from wherever that injury was?
Could be.
I think a lot of it, I think, with the hair, it's to help know
timeline.
We're in the past and the past.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it will help with the telling the story.
Yeah.
After I saw this episode, I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's why they did the hair, so it's easier to tell what timeline we're in.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And so, so they like knock her out. And then when they come to, they're being hung in this room, by their wrists and gagged. And so you see Jocelyn like in a corner. And I don't know if you guys have ever watched American Horror Story, but this scene felt very American Horror Story to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like it definitely had that sort of like vibe to it. And you see that like she's basically kind of like training these kids to like be desensitized.
Less than a minute to go.
Yep.
Yes. To be desensitized to basically like what was the phrase that they had? Like mark your kill and kill your mark.
Yeah. Yeah, that was what they said.
Oh, yeah. So, like, they're being hung there, and like, Jocelyn basically tells them, it's like, no, this is what we do. And they have like basic.
They'll be back. Hey guys, this is a commercial break for you. This is Dave from Squawking Dead, and we're going to get everybody back onto the stream in a minute. We could use a little bit of funding. We don't have like a GoFundMe or anything, but we have like we're just trying to we're trying to actually get we're trying to get like some funding for to get these streams, not the streams, but like the meeting requests to last a little longer. So just bear with us. We're gonna just shoot a message for everybody to join back in, and it'll happen in 3, 2, 1. Not quite that quickly, but yeah, bear with. Quick, before we lose what little audience we have already. Hold on a second. Ooh, that's not the one. Okay. Uno. Dos. Trace.
All right.
Yeah. Sound check.
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 And away you go.
And we're back. So yeah, they're all hung up in that classroom. Oof. I mean, when they started heating up like the little branding thing, I was like, I mean, what is it, a poker? Is that what you would call it?
Branding tool, something, yeah.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That was awful to watch.
It was.
Like, they were very convincing.
Oh yeah, Daryl's screech was heart-wrenching.
Heart-wrenching. That's heart-wrenching. I was like, oh my God. And like, just the way they did it to Michonne and like the camera angle, and you just see
when she comes face to face with Jocelyn screaming.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was horrible.
Yeah.
That was horrible to watch. I was like, oh my God. And I mean, obviously, like we talked about, eventually, like, they get out of it and all that. But even just seeing, like, because in Michonne's case, it's like she sees like this group of kids, like basically like you know, leading Judith out, like, okay, you know, like out of the building, and it's like you can see her, but she's beyond your reach. Like that is every mother's or parent's nightmare. Like, I mean, like to just beyond reach, and you're just trying to get to them. Oh my God, like that.
Yeah.
And it's almost like Michonne doesn't. When she was getting branded, she was not in that moment blaming the children.
No.
She was screaming at Jocelyn because she said, you know, like, this is you're making them do this. And
right. Yep.
She never blamed the children at any point.
At any point, she even afterwards, she was like, you guys can come back with me.
Yeah.
Even after they said, you know, like, kill her children. Like she just said, you come back with me. Like, she did everything she could not to kill those children.
Yeah, but that, I mean, this is going back
to then we remember she has killed a child before. She killed one of the Anderson children when he shot at Carl.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yes.
You know, she killed
during the herd. That whole episode.
But that's a different circumstance, clearly.
Yeah.
A very different circumstance. So,
yeah. I heard some people say it's like, well, she killed the governor's daughter. I'm like, well, but she was already
dead.
She was already dead. So
she was already a walker. So you can't.
No, really see, I'm thinking of what was his name?
Ron.
Was it Ron?
Yeah. Ron and Sam and Jesse.
Yes.
Yeah. So she, you know, but again, she was protecting her children. I mean, she was protecting Carl.
Absolutely.
Right.
You know,
that's where it comes from. I mean, if she's put in a position where she has to defend her family, then
I mean, he was pointing the gun at Rick, so she was protecting her family.
Right.
Still, yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
But yeah, like I mean, and like back to your point, like when she ran out of that building and gets like clobbered by that like 2x4 with Jocelyn, I was like, oh my gosh, how much abuse is this woman gonna take?
Right.
Like, I mean, I feel like I hadn't seen Michonne go through this much beating since that episode. Where was it? When she and that junkyard person were on like that tower or like on that scene. But yeah, like, cause this just was like, oh my God, I was like, how much is she going to have to endure? Like she's being beaten and like clobbered on the floor. My God. So that was rough. And, you know, and you see that they bring like all the kids into that trailer. Like they kind of hold them in that trailer. And, you know, luckily she manages to get her like katana and like, you know, kills Jocelyn, thank God. But then she basically has like this army of minions, you know, that is like kind of surrounding her. And it's like you said, she doesn't want to fight them. Like she has no interest in fighting these kids.
No,
like,
she doesn't.
She's like, you guys can come and, you know, come back to Alexandria. But, you know, I feel like these kids are so brainwashed that they're basically sort of like,
Jocelyn's laying there dead, you know, and they're still loyal to her. And like we're still planning on doing what she told us to, even though she's dead. And
like it's not even like, oh, she's dead. Well, all right, then, like, okay, we'll go with you. You know, it's like no, so like in that mindset that they're like, no, we have to like beat this woman. It's like, really, why? Like
you could even sense because she was the one that branded Michonne. You know, she could sense a hesitation there,
right? Because Jocelyn told her, it's like, you know, don't let it you control it, don't let it control you. Like
and then when she says don't, and she, you know, she says it, Michonne says it one more time, and she just kind of like almost takes like a deep breath, like I don't have to do it. Runs away, you know. Like she's relieved.
She's exactly like more so like relieved. So I thought
it took her a while to get to the trailer too. You know, she'd take a step and then stop and take another step towards the trailer and stop. And it didn't really seem like she wanted to.
One of the questions I did have was like, did Michonne think that Judith had changed? Like, is that why they like stop and stare at her for a second?
Like my interpretation wasn't from what it seems like is that she thought that moment of hesitation, like when Judith comes out and she just stood there. First of all, that broke my heart. Like,
me too.
Stood there at the trailer, I was like, oh my God, this poor thing. And she's just standing there quiet, and they're both just quietly looking at each other. And finally she says, "Mommy," and it's like, oh, a moment of relief, because she kind of was afraid that she had already gotten brainwashed to some extent by these, like, you know, by these people, you know. But
how that makes me wonder how long her and Daryl were searching for her.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. It couldn't have been more than a day.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought.
It couldn't have been that long. Yeah. It had to have been like,
but she is still really young and very impressionable, so it might not have taken long either.
Right. Exactly. So she was, but I thought it was interesting how they, like, because we cut back to present, and, like, you know, we find out that Judith's like run away to like go and help, you know, with Rick's gun. And, you know, they keep cutting when Michonne's like having to confront these kids, and like, we know as viewers that she had to kill these kids, but they never show it.
Which I
love how they did that.
I thought that it was very effective.
I love that.
Yep. Very. So, we saw what she did to the kids through the walkers.
Exactly.
I loved that.
I thought that was really poetically done. I thought it was done very well done, because we don't have to see it to know what happened. Like, we know what happened. We don't have to see all the details of it. And
I love that she didn't go into labor. I feel like that would have just shifted the whole episode, you know, the focus.
Yeah.
I'm glad she didn't go into labor, because I was a little worried that
could have happened.
It could have happened
at that point. Yeah.
And that kind of reminds me too, like, that made me so nervous. Like, before, like, I mean, there was one kid that was literally lunging at her, that she was holding at arm's
he's like
length.
holding the knife.
Like, he was flashed her on the belly. I think that was the kid.
Yeah.
And he had no choice. I mean, it's horrible, but like, she really had no choice. Like, she tried as much as she could. And
I
mean,
they weren't going to stop.
They weren't going to stop.
It was either her or them, or her or her children.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that was
I loved the parallel when how she kills Jocelyn. You know, she stabs her with the katana. And then you see Judith doing the same thing to the walker at the end.
It was there were a lot of really well done scenes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even Daryl got kind of choked up, didn't he, when he came out of the building, and like the kids came out of the trailer.
Like, oh, shit.
I think so.
This
like,
is bad shit.
Like, he looked around and was like, oh my God. And like, but once Judith came out and like the other kids came out, like, I think he even embraced them too, right? Like, I mean,
he came over. Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was very heartwarming, but still. And then, like, in present day, like, you see, like, when, and I think they talked about it on Talking Dead, it was really cool, like, when she was taking out some of these walkers and one of them drops, and then you see, oh, there's Judith. Right. She's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But I thought it was cute, the fact that, she's so badass, she's so cool, she can do all of this, but a walker almost gets the best of her. And then what does she have to do? Mommy.
Yeah.
I love that she called her mommy too.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was like, you're not ready to just be out here on your own. You're still
there were a lot of dead walkers out there. She is a little badass.
Yeah, she is a little badass. I mean, I feel like we even saw scenes when they came back from when Rick was disappeared. When after, like, we did the time jump, we've seen scenes of Michonne training Judith. Like, so, I mean, she's trained her well, you know, like, she's prepared her well.
This is the world that she's grown up in. She's never known anything else. I mean,
very true.
She was born in a prison, and
this is,
dead people come back to life. Like, it's not weird to her. This is her reality, you know,
and it's just normal.
It's not scary. I mean, it is scary, but it's not, you know, you learn it's normal to her.
She doesn't know any different.
She doesn't know any different. Yeah. But they, you know, they have this little heart to heart. And that's when Michonne finds out that, like, she remembers all of this, that Judith remembers all of that, which she's shocked by. But at the same time, like, I thought to myself, well, if I was a child, or if my child, like, saw me covered in blood standing on top of a bunch of child corpses, they're you know what I mean? Like, they're not going to, like,
I will eat my green beans tomorrow.
They're gonna, like,
I will not poke at my food.
They're gonna, like, that's gonna be like a pretty milestone day. You know, they're not going to forget that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, she tells her that she remembers all of it. And so Michonne's like, so what are we doing out here then? You know, like literally she's like, what the hell are we doing out here? But, you know, she says, it's like, I thought it was really sweet where she's like, when did we stop loving, you know, Uncle Daryl and, you know, and King and all of them. I was like,
when was the last time Carol has seen Judith? I mean, when she left Alexandria, was it after the wolves? When she was watching Judith and she set that timer and the wolves came and Judith was sleeping, I wonder if that was last time she ever saw her.
I know, because it's been a really long time.
Well, it's right after that she leaves Alexandria and is on the road and you know, that one guy follows her and Morgan ends up coming and taking her to the kingdom. And I think she's just there since then.
She's been there ever since.
I mean, it's been at least 7 years, maybe, or 8.
Yeah.
6. I don't know. It's hard to remember the time, how much time.
Yeah.
I think probably 7 sounds right.
I think 7 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Because after the war with the Saviors, we jumped ahead like what, a year and a half?
Year and a half, I think. Mm-hmm.
And then again, like another 6
years.
Yeah. So it's definitely been a while. Yeah. So it's like.
But she's definitely a reason why she's alive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And, you know, she knows all these people, like almost from like these stories that she hears, like all these like tall tales. And hasn't seen them in like years, as she can even remember them barely. So I thought it was really sweet for her to be like, look, these are our friends, these are our family. Like, doesn't mean that we like stop loving them, you know?
Right. I love that she brings up like keeping people safe, because that was one of the things that Carl had told his dad, like, you held my hand and you made me feel safe, and you know, that's what I wish I could give to you. And that to me was very sweet.
It was really sweet. And it swayed Michonne. It like actually swayed her, which I love this scene. I love the fact that they like tricked out, like, what was it, like a minivan into like a horse-drawn carriage. That thing was awesome. I was like, they're having so much fun with this. Great. I was like, how are we gonna make like a horse-drawn, you know, carriage? It's like, all right, we'll cut off the car top and like work. So that was really cool. I got such a kick out of that. But basically, they get
very creative.
super creative.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that they were on the road and they like come across, you know, Daryl and them, and they're like, hey, you want to live? You see him kind of smile, you know. So it was nice. It was good. But then, of course, we see that the Whisperers are lurking around, and they see
and they just happen to stumble upon the kingdom. I mean, nope, Lydia didn't tell them about it, so they must have just happened to find it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It seems like they stumbled upon it because they were like, "Oh, we have to tell Alpha. We have to let Alpha know."
We must tell Alpha.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like a surprise. Like they didn't like purposely looking; they just kind of came across it.
Yeah.
So,
it seemed like
it's a heavy. I mean, it was a heavy episode, but I thought it was really good. I just really, like I said, it's like I still don't know if like just Michonne being straight up like isolationist is what caused like this rift, like where she's just sort of like, okay, guys, like I'm just cutting off everybody, like I'm done. I'm not letting.
I almost wonder if there was a last straw, like if there was one more thing that happened, that caused the last straw.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, when she was talking to Judith, I mean, she kind of made it. I got the impression that like this was the reason why, and like I thought you didn't understand because you didn't remember, but you do remember. So how do you not understand? I'm with Judith though. I didn't really understand either. I mean,
I don't understand the correlation, you know?
Yeah. Well, I just don't understand like how this event was what changed her. Like, yeah, I mean, it was heavy. It was horrible, but it's not, I feel like it's not even the worst thing our group has done.
No. I mean, because my thing is that
you know what? But if you add it all up, I mean, the people at
her friend.
her her friend. It's almost like, okay, we can't trust anybody. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, but our own friends? I mean, she cut off everybody. I understand strangers.
Yeah.
You know, don't let any strangers in, but come on, our family?
Yeah.
You know,
but to be like, I'm going to cut off like Carol, Kate, like Maggie. It's like, no, these are people who have been like in your like side for years. So to cut them off, like, it just doesn't make total sense to me. I feel like there has to be more to it.
I agree. I also noticed we didn't really see, like, Daryl has the scar over his eye.
Right.
He didn't get that in this episode.
No.
Right. Or his, one of his angel wings is gone too.
Yeah, that's missing too. We didn't get an answer to that.
Now, but in the past scenes, you could see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was there. I mean, that might just be wear and tear too.
I think there's something behind it. I don't think they do anything by accident.
Okay.
I feel like it has to be. There has to be more to the story too, especially because we had that other episode where Negan went to the sanctuary and it's just decimated. I mean, and when we like right before the 6-year time jump, like they were still like trying to convince Hilltop to give sanctuary supplies. So there were still people living at the sanctuary who needed food, who needed supplies, and it's like, okay, now everybody's gone. I'm like, okay. What happened?
Yeah, we need to know what happened at the sanctuary. Definitely,
I need to know what happened.
I need to know.
Like, and then part of me is like, wait, because I'm just like, well, we need to find out what happens. But then I'm like, oh, wait a second, are we gonna find this out via Dwight on Fear? Like, is that going to like? Because I don't know, you know, like, is that going to somehow?
He might fill in the blanks.
He might fill in the blanks on whatever happened. I don't know.
I could see that. That makes total sense.
Because I was just like, something happened there, and we have to find out. It can't just be like, you know, the only thing we know is that like when Negan went there, he was like, oh yeah, Big Richie, loyal to
Big Richie's still here.
I was like, loyal to the end. What happened? What went down?
Like look up. I'm like, who is that? Like I don't even know who that is.
I know. It would have been one thing if it was like the other guy. There was another guy that he had a nickname for at the same.
Rapey Davy.
Oh god.
Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah,
he's dead. But
Fat Joey's dead too.
Fat Joey. That's the guy I was thinking of. Fat Joey. Yeah.
Daryl killed him.
Daryl killed him. Yeah. But no Big Richie. I don't remember Big Richie.
I know. I couldn't remember him.
But yeah, like, and that was it. Like, I mean,
Dwighty boy.
But that was it. Because when they show the flashback when Michonne comes back to like Alexandria after like rescuing all of the kids, I mean, you don't really find out like what she tells them or whatever. It's just sort of like, you just see that obviously Sadiq immediately tends to her because the poor woman shows up like battered, bruised with like a cut on like her like belly, you know? No, but that's it. Like we never really find out. Like,
oh, like good job, you saved the kids. End of story.
Yeah. Close up the gate.
Yep.
That's it. You know,
and that's all she wrote.
Right. I'm like, all right, okay. So I guess we'll see. But I mean, I thought it was definitely a solid episode. I think somebody said that it's been like 5 years since they did The Grove or something.
Really?
Exactly 5 years.
He died.
Wow.
Done.
I was like, oh, that's ironic.
Right?
I was like, that was another dark one, you know?
Yeah, that was dark. I mean, talk about dark secrets, you know.
That one.
That's what I mean. Like this, what Michonne did isn't even the worst thing we've seen.
Yeah, because that was pretty bad. Like it was pretty bad at the time. Like, and it was funny because my husband didn't remember. I was like, The Grove, remember where the little girl killed her sister, and then Carol had to kill the little girl. He's like, oh god. Yeah. Like, that was bad. That was rough. But yeah, now we've only got 2 episodes left.
I know.
And
then we gotta wait 9 months.
Oh god.
Or 8 months, or however long it is.
I'm so apprehensive of this next episode. I have no idea. Like,
I feel like it's gonna be a tearjerker. I feel like they're gonna take our hearts and rip them out.
I have no idea what to expect.
No, I have no idea because I definitely feel like they're gonna mix some things up. Beta, I mean, they've shown like little sneak peeks and like Daryl gets to find out Beta's still alive. So.
I just don't want. I do not want.
That's gonna be fun.
I don't want anybody to touch Jerry and Nabila. Like, I don't want them to be touched. Like
I
they
know.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
And I feel
leave their
And I
family
feel-
alone.
And I feel like exactly for that reason, one of them will be. And I
Stop
don't
it.
have anything.
No, they're
I
gonna
have
be
nothing
fine.
to back it up. I have no reason to back it up because they don't exist.
But
in the comic.
if I had to choose who I think it would be, I have a feeling it'd be Nabila. Like I have a feeling that she
out
would
of the two, I feel
She's
like
on my list.
I feel like all happy couples are being broken up. So you'd either have to
Yeah.
choose between Jerry and Nabila, Alden and Enid. Yeah, like it's like okay, one of these two is gonna go. So
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Sadiq or Gabriel or Rosita.
Rosita.
I think it'll most likely be Gabriel because we need Sadiq as a doctor.
But Enid is a doctor now.
Eh.
He's like,
She does okay.
Who's the doctor at Hilltop? I mean, at the Kingdom. Do we know who that
I
is?
don't think that they have.
Is there one?
Well, who like kind of fixed up Carol when she got all shot by that savior?
It was that. You know,
Good
who
point.
It was. Well, they didn't really show. When
Yeah, I guess not.
They didn't really show it. So
They just kind of had her in like their little hospital or whatever. Because I'm trying to think. Because there was that one doctor, but the sanctuary took
Dr.
him.
Carson.
Yeah.
Well, there were two Dr. Carsons actually. They were brothers.
Yeah, they're both dead.
Yeah, they're both dead now.
Both gone.
No.
Yeah.
But it never looks good for doctors. So I guess I
No.
should be scared for the Sadiq.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. I'm
Really?
I'm good with Sadiq. Yeah.
I'm not good with it. I'm not good
I mean,
with
I'm only upset for the doctor aspect of it, but I'm not.
From a character
I love
perspective.
his character.
Meh.
Though. I would have loved to dig. I'd love to dig more into his character.
There's definitely more characters I'm more attached to than Sadiq.
I don't want to let go of anybody.
I feel that I will be most disappointed and saddened if Jerry goes. If Jerry,
He's not going anywhere.
I will. I'll be very bummed out.
It may be another Glenn situation for me. I don't know.
I don't know if that's happening because like a lot of these characters are not in the comics, so I have no basis for like any of it. It's just basically like I like this character, therefore they'll probably get killed.
Yeah. I feel like the show needs Jerry on it though. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not just saying that because I love him, but I really feel like the show needs him. Like it's so dark and dreary and death all the time. Like we need that comedic relief every now and then.
See, and I think, what death is going to affect the group, because it needs to propel them. Like Glenn's death affected Maggie and it propelled her to move to the hilltop and kind of take over. But so if Tara dies, who do you see that affecting the most? So it's like she's one of those ones where it's like, I think she's pretty safe.
Yeah, no, it is true in the sense that like, you're right. Like you have to think about like, what purpose is this death going to serve? Like what's it going to
death have to mean something, like if Sadiq dies, you're going to get a Rosita pretty pissed off. I mean, they're not together, but he is the father of her child.
On the flip side, it would be
on the flip side, you're going to get Eugene, you're going to get Gabriel, you're going to get Sadiq, you're going to get all these people.
If Rosita dies,
I was going to say
all those guys are going to be,
and
obviously if it's like King Ezekiel or Carol, those.
Not Carol.
I don't think Carol's going anywhere.
I definitely don't think it's Carol. No, I definitely
I would be
not
shocked.
Daryl. It's not Daryl. It's not Carol. It's not Michonne.
No.
Yeah.
But Enid, what do you think?
I think Enid potentially could go.
Okay.
I think potentially. I don't think that she's safe. I'll say that.
I feel like she would be safe if Maggie was still in the picture. Because they had such a close.
See, I think that would make her more at risk because then it would catapult, Maggie's feelings and emotions.
Right.
True.
Yeah.
I feel like between her and Alden, one of them would. I don't.
No, I don't want Alden to go.
I don't.
I know. I'd rather see Enid go than Alden, but I think it's going to be Alden.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that they'll also like.
I know who. Sorry, go ahead.
I think that they'll also throw in some like random, like filler people in though. Like,
What about like Yumiko? Like,
I don't think Yumiko.
Because then, like obviously that would kill
Magna.
Yeah.
And then she could fall into the arms of Tara. Maybe.
I think we're gonna lose Luke from that group. That's my prediction.
You think it's Luke?
Yeah. I could see that because they seem to be
answer though, because he's a little more weak.
I think.
Well, look how it affected them when the Whisperers got him.
Yeah, right. They seem to kind of like really have a soft spot for him. So if something happened to him, they would be really like mobilized. I think it could be him. I think it could even be Kelly, because then that would mobilize like her sister, and I mean, that would be awful. But
Connie and Daryl would be forced to spend more time together.
Partner up.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't know. I could see that potentially. I hope it wouldn't be Yumiko because I kind of like her. I like her.
Yeah, me too. She's very strong and she's a good leader.
Yeah, she's pretty cool. So I'd like to see more of her.
I think the only people who are safe are Carol and Daryl.
Yeah,
and Michonne. Everybody else is on the table.
Everybody else, you're at risk.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I don't think it's Michonne or Judith either.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah,
but
there's some people that even include a dog in that. I was like, don't do anything to dog. Yes, no. I saw some people that were saying that. I was like, please, dear God, no.
That would be horrible.
That would be
your fan base, man.
I was like, don't,
oh my gosh.
Do that. Don't do that to the dog. It was enough that you killed off Shiva. So like, don't do that to the dog.
I just have one comment from No Sanctuary from when we were chatting. He said he actually has dog as one of the Pike candidates.
Yes, some people do.
Some
people do. There are some people that do. That's why I'm saying it. Like I've heard that, and I'm like, oh God, please no. That would hurt me as much as
that would propel Daryl to go into a rage.
Well, that and he has 20 people on his Pike list.
He's got. Like,
I don't think they're killing that many people off.
He's got like the whole cast on.
Yeah. Everyone.
I think Carol's totally right though. There's going to be, a handful of filler characters that we're not really attached to.
That we're like familiar enough that we recognize them, like Cal or like
Addie.
Even like the guy, like the couple of the former saviors, like Laura or what's the other guy?
I had Tammy Rose on my list too.
Tammy Rose,
yes,
Tammy
that's
Rose.
what. Yeah, mm-hmm.
I could see
or
that
Earl.
for sure.
Or Earl, yeah,
one of the two.
Yeah,
I don't know. Henry's going to have to get back to blacksmithing before we lose Earl, though. He hasn't learned anything yet.
I was going to say he hasn't nothing from that apprenticeship.
No. He got there and immediately split.
Yeah, he met a girl and was done.
Yeah.
Carol and Ezekiel are not going to be
the wrong kind of brain here.
Yeah, Carol and Ezekiel were not going to be pleased about this.
I can't wait to hear what Carol has to say about Henry.
I know.
And the whole thing. She has no idea.
I know. She has no idea that any of this stuff is going on.
He's going to get mommed so hard.
Yeah. Reality.
10-minute warning.
10 minutes.
I love our producer on the side. Dave really is like the producer on the side that's like 5 minutes. So I don't know, guys. What do you think? You think we're good?
I think I got everything out I was thinking.
Yeah,
I think I did too. I'm just looking forward to and like nervous for next week. I'm just I'm basically going to be my feeling. I'm going to be sitting there like kind of like, okay, is it happening? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Do you think we'll see both Beta and Alpha in season 10?
Yes. I think so.
Do you guys think that the surprise guest on Talking Dead is a dead character, someone dying, or is
sure?
Yeah, okay. I think it's been a little bit, so I think
And he keeps saying like every time he says it, he's like, it doesn't mean anything, guys, but we all know it does.
I'm like, it does. It does.
Yeah. One of these times it's gonna.
One of these times it's gonna be one, and that's this time.
It'll be this.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
We haven't had like a major.
I know. I'm trying to think. I can't even remember the last.
I don't, but I heard a little like rumor that like if you look at like the trailer and like because there's in the trailer for like next week you see them surrounded by like whispers or whatever.
Right.
And I think one of them has a gun or something. Like one of them.
One of the whisperers too?
Yeah, they showed it in Talking Dead. Alpha has a gun, but they said like potentially like the mask looks like somebody said that the mask kind of looks like Ozzy, like one of the highwaymen. Sorry, Dave. And so like I'm not saying that it is. I'm just basically like just I'm the messenger here. I saw something that somebody had like speculated that the mask kind of looked like Ozzy's face. I think that's his name, Ozzy from the Highwaymen, whoever the leader of the Highwaymen is.
Okay.
But I haven't seen I didn't look at the clip closely enough to really be able to analyze it.
It's him under the mask, or it's his face as the mask?
His face as the mask.
I
was like, oh,
that's awesome.
I love that you're like, that's amazing.
Oh, dang.
I was like, that would be horrifying. Wow. That would be pretty bad.
I know, right? I'm like, oh my God.
Yes.
I like these guys.
Dave does as well.
Yeah.
Hence his exclamation. I don't know if that's happening, but I heard something like that and I was like, oh God, that would be really bad.
They get their own twangy theme music. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. What about you, Dave? Any closing thoughts?
Dave's final thoughts.
Dave's final thoughts.
So this is before we sign out?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I might as well turn my thing on. Hi, everybody.
He's back.
Closing thoughts. You know what? I said in the chat, if they might as well put dog on the pike, because if you're going to go dark, go pitch. So,
jeez.
But I got my own medicine when you said Ozzy is a fresh whisper. Basically, his face is a fresh whisper mask. So that's, you know what? Taking my own medicine.
I don't know.
I gotta find this clip.
I don't know. I need to find it and look at it again.
I'd be okay with it.
They would be heartbroken.
I think most people would, even me. It's just kind of like, you know,
I'd be bummed. You know,
I mean, it'd be so quick. Exactly. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice to meet you.
Because then that would pretty much mean that there's something happened in the past. Because what the heck was the point of bringing them into the show just to kill them?
Right.
Yeah.
There's got to be something that happened in the past. Obviously, with something in the hilltop or with Tara. So. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Right. So if that's it, the tank is empty, everybody. Just a reminder, if you're listening on any platform, or just hop on over to them anyway, the YouTube video, the Facebook, just leave a like and comment and keep the conversation going, and subscribe. Join us in the conversation. The audio chat's going to be a lot more high tech. It's going to sound a lot cooler. It's going to have some background music in the beginning and the end. So if you like that stuff, hit us up, listen to us on the audio, subscribe. And that's really all I have to say. And good night. And we'll see you and hold your hands on Sunday. Or your heads.
Oh, God.
Therapy session next week.
Oh, and last thing. Thank you for making this the first Zombie Mommies episode of Squawking Dead.
Mommies.
Zombie Mommies.
And lastly, but not least, because we were saving this for the end, check out Rachael Burt's art in the background on the right. That's her portrait.
I did
so freaking talented.
You literally just did that.
One of my oil paintings. No, that's an older one.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's amazing. That's oil?
Thank you. Yeah, this one is. Yeah, this is a blanket. That's a painting.
You could have lied.
I totally painted that too.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Acrylic.
Looks really good.
Yeah. It's furry too.
I stitched it myself.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll do this again sometime. I'm sure we will. It's kind of nice not being in the driver's seat, to be honest. So until then, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I had a blast, lady.
Yeah.
Well, no, you can keep going. It was pretty fun.
Yeah.
I had to restrain myself from not talking. That's how but
You did great.
You were like,
but mansplain what?
you were like sitting over there like.
I did laugh out loud at a couple spots. I have to
Okay.
admit.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Don't lie. You were talking the whole time, but your mic was muted.
Yeah, exactly. Duh.
Yeah.
Gotta keep the muscles flexed, you know. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, enough man meat on this show. Thank you very much for joining us, and everybody say a nice goodbye to everybody on the chats.
So long.
Bye.
Adios, amigos, and stopping the Instagram stream now. Okay, that was just Instagram right now.
Everybody else is still here.
Yeah, and see you YouTube. Bye.
Bye.
And live video. and then everybody left. I didn't even get to shut off Facebook. Yeah. All right. Cool. All right, Rach. See you later.
All right. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye.
You made it through the whole thing.
I did. My phone didn't die.
Good night.
Bye.